Hello, I'm Frank D. Simone, Village President, and welcome to Spotlight on Bensenville. This episode we are discussing the wastewater treatment plant with our guest, Joe Caracci, Director of Public Works. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick look at Bensenville's wastewater treatment plant.
Hi, welcome to the Bensenville Wastewater Treatment Plant. My name is David Vogel. I'm one of the operators here, and today we're going to give you a brief introduction on the new treatment plant and how the treatment process works. The original plant was constructed back in the 50s, and over the last 50 so plus years we've gone through a couple of renovations back in 1970 and then most recently here in 2016. The Bensenville collection system, or the sewer sanitary system, consists of roughly over 60 miles of sewer line, commercial, industrial, residential. All that water through gravity makes its way to lift stations. Those lift stations lift the water, and eventually all of that water makes its way here to our primary building, or our headworks. This is where the water goes through its initial primary treatment process, or screening. We screen the water through these mechanical bar screens and remove all of the large solids. Anything you can possibly imagine that might go down a drain or be washed through a manhole makes its way here and is removed here. Sticks, leaves, plastics, rags, napkins, towels. Again, anything you can possibly imagine getting washed down a drain or anything is screened from these fine mechanical bar screens. Now, there are particles that do make their way through the bar screens. Small food, hair, grit, soot. Those solids are collected in a grid system and collected into this hopper that you see next to me here. Those solids are washed, and then that grit makes its way into a dumpster where it gets hauled away. So once the water leaves the primary treatment building or the screening, it makes its way here to our distribution center where it's lifted by these screw pumps that are located behind me. The water is pumped up and evenly distributed and sent out to our aeration tanks. The plant was originally designed to handle about 12 million gallons on a given day. We typically treat between 2.5 to 4 million gallons. So this here is truly the heart of the treatment process. Here at Bensenville, we're called what you would say an activated sludge plant. We use activated sludge as the primary reason for treating our water. As the water leaves the screw pump section and is evenly distributed to these trains here, this is where the biology starts. These tanks are constantly under 24 hours of aeration, and this is where the organisms begin to grow, creating organisms that actually remove the impurities from the water, ammonia, phosphorus, carbon, and such. So these here are the final clarifiers, or the settling tanks. Using hydraulic pressure, the water makes its way from the aeration system into these two tanks where we truly separate the solids from the treated water. The treated water will actually make its way over the weirs where it gets sent to the head of the sand filters for future polishing. But the solids make their way to the bottom of these tanks. We will introduce a portion of those solids back to the treatment process for further treatment, but a portion of those solids actually gets sent to the digesters for inventory management. This here is the tertiary filter building, or our sand filter building. As the water makes its way from the final clarifiers, it's pumped into the head of the sand filters here, evenly distributed through all three tanks. The water's filtered through the sand. It's the sand that collects all those fine impurities or suspended solids before the water makes its way out to our chlorine contact tank for disinfection. So these here are our 4 aerobic digesters. As we talked about earlier in the aeration section, where we produce sludge, that inventory has to be managed. A portion of that inventory will get returned back into the treatment process, but also a portion of that daily inventory will get sent here to the aerobic digesters for further digestion to remove some of the volatile organics that are still in the sludge. And once these digesters fill up, that inventory gets managed by dewatering it in the biosolids building. Part of the sludge management inventory process is our dewatering building, or our belt filter press building. As the solids begin to build up in the digesters, we have to manage that inventory, and we do that here. The sludge is pumped onto our belt filter press, where we administer a sophisticated polymer solution. The sludge coagulates with that polymer, separating the water. Water is filtered back to the head of the plant, and that sludge is pressed into a cake portion where it gets sent to our biosolids storage facility. Once the biosolids building begins to fill up with sludge, we actually have a hauling company come and haul that sludge to our farm fields where our farmers cultivate it back into the soil, and the process begins all over again.
Welcome back. Joe, Are there any special challenges in treating wastewater?
I would say our biggest challenge is really rain. The rain events can come at any point. They can have a whole variable level of depth to them. We really have to focus on treating that rain when it comes in. Our wastewater treatment plant was not meant to be a rainwater treatment plant. So again, when we get these rain events, every one of them is different. Every one of them provides new challenges to us. Our new plant actually gives us flexibility to maneuver some of that water around. We have an 800,000 gallon excess flow clarifier that we can store some of the rainwater in, which gives us some time. Our ultimate goal would be to treat all of the water completely before discharging into the creek. So sometimes we can do that, sometimes we can't, but those are the challenges we face during the rain events. But that's probably our number one challenge.
What are some items that the residents should not put down the drains?
Grease, grease, and more grease. We get so many calls for grease blockages in our sanitary sewers. That's our number one call. But really anything that's non-biodegradable. If it doesn't say toilet paper on it, it really shouldn't go down your toilets. Baby wet wipes, feminine products, those are types of things that really give us some struggles at the plant as well. Those are the things that really get bound up and caught up into our pumps and into the gears of those pumps, which cause them to fail, and then we have to repair them. So really, grease. Try to keep your grease in a can, throw it in the garbage. Try not to throw that grease down the drain.
Do the drains on the side of the roadways, does that go to the wastewater treatment plant?
Those catch basins in the street, those actually are part of our storm sewer system. So technically they should not. Not to say that there isn't 100% compliance with that. That's something we hope to do in the next couple of years, do a test on our system to make sure we don't have any unknown cross connections. But yeah, our storm sewer and our sanitary sewer system are separate sewer systems. All the wastewater should go to the wastewater plant. All the storm water should go through our drains directly to the creek.
How many sewer lines are in the village of Bensenville?
It's a hard one to quantify, but we do have over 60 miles of sanitary sewer main lines in the town. That does not include all the individual services. Every house has a service from their foundation out to our mains. So not counting those, we have over 60 miles.
Where does the water go once it's treated?
Actually, we have a discharge point right at our wastewater treatment plant, right behind Public Works. There's a small creek there that actually leads into Redmond, and then from Redmond it gets down into the Edison Creek trail system, down through the Salt Creek, down to the Illinois River.
How much on average does a person contribute to the wastewater?
About 17 to 20 gallons a day. Okay. So this is everything from flushing your toilets, showers, brushing your teeth, dishwashers, laundry, everything that goes down your drain. It's about 17 to 20 gallons a day per person.
How many people does it take to operate our plant?
We have a 7-person staff for our wastewater division. Of those 7 people, 4 of them really are focused on the plant. 3 of them are more in our collection system. So our collection system of that 60 miles of main also has a number of lift stations that we have to maintain too in order to pump the water up to let it gravity drain over to our plant. So 7 total, 4 at the plant, 3 in the field.
About how many lab tests do we run at the plant?
We do about 1,400 a year. So there are certain tests that we have to do every day. There's some tests that we do monthly, quarterly, annually, but overall about 1,400 for the entire year.
What are some things residents should know that impacts the sewer rates?
Basically, our sewer rates are comprised of 3 different categories. There's the operations, which is the day-to-day workings and keeping the plant running. There's also capital improvements. We do provide some capital improvements throughout the village each year. This would be sewer replacements, sewer mains, sewer lining, things like that. And then there's also the debt component. Obviously, with the $30 million wastewater treatment plant, we had to incur some debt with that. So that's another component of the bill.
How can residents find out more about the wastewater treatment plant and Public Works?
Yeah, actually, call the Public Works Department. Phone number 630-350-3435. We'd be happy to answer any questions about Public Works or the wastewater treatment plant. We're happy to provide tours to anyone that would like a tour of our new wastewater treatment plant. Just call ahead, get a schedule, and we'd be happy to oblige that.
Thank you so much for joining us for Spotlight on Bensenville.